Am I just supposed to start? Hey, what's up? I'm Tony Hawk, and I'm going to show you some of my favorite skateboards and graphics through the years. I was supposed to pick 5, but I picked 6 because I couldn't help myself. This right here, not that it's my favorite graphic, but it's my favorite board because it's the first board I ever had right here. It's my brother's hand-me-down from like 1977. This is the first board I ever got to ride, and I just was riding in the alley one time and on it, and he said, "You can keep it, I'm getting a new one." And I've had it ever since. I don't know how. Grip tape still really works well though. And 3 bolts, that's the new thing. I guess the most important thing about this board is that it does have urethane wheels, and that was right around the time when people were going from clay to urethane. So I bet if I had gotten a board, you know, maybe a year prior that had clay wheels, I probably wouldn't keep skating because they would just fall apart. You couldn't ride over anything that wasn't perfectly smooth. So I got lucky in that I started in the urethane era. Well, this is actually my first pro model. This one's used because the one that I kept that was new got lost somewhere along the way, but I actually did use this board right here. And this was, I think, 1981. And the graphic was pretty much straight Hawk. I brought Pal a bunch of graphics that my friend had drawn, who's actually a comic artist now, but they were just pictures of hawks. And it was more like, here's my friend drew some hawks, and they're like, okay, I guess that's what you want, so they just made it a hawk. And I never thought it was that exciting, but I wasn't gonna argue to have a pro model when I was 14. So, yeah, this didn't sell at all, anywhere, ever. I mean, it was available, but no one bought it. This is the board that everyone came to know from me, so this is why I have it, because this is the one that's probably the most iconic. You know, this graphic, this shape, even this color was straight 80s. But I mean, I had that graphic for 10 years, right there. Well, the shape originally was along this line. You know, it had a wide tail, but it had a more rounded nose, but a real short snub nose. And I saw that it was Lester that I first saw do the side cut on the nose, you know, and then I thought it was just cool because it was like, we thought somehow it was cutting down weight, or I don't really know, or you could grab it right there. And then I took that idea and extended the nose of it way more than anyone. I mean, this is like that size nose was unheard of at the time, because I was just starting to do nose stalls. So that shape lasted for quite a while. Victor Court Johnson was the guy who drew it, and they sent it to me and said, "This is what we want to do next." And I said, "Sure." I wasn't going to argue because the other one was so lame. I just remember looking at it going, "Whoa, that looks gnarly. I want that. Yeah, that's cool." Mid-80s, you know, they were selling probably 20, 30,000 of these a month. So my checks went from, like, I actually had a royalty check for my first board for 85 cents. And then steadily like $4 and $6 checks, and then this one went to like 25,000 a month. I think it was just more the popularity of skating that brought it, you know, that brought this up to the recognition factor and people wanting it, and my success too. I mean, you know, when I first turned pro, like, I was relatively unknown. I was just a good amateur, and then by this time, like, I was winning most of the events, and I was the name that most people knew. This board right here was officially my first birdhouse professional model, first graphic. And the reason I chose the Titanic is because people thought I was a sinking ship. Like, I was an old vert skater trying to start my own company and still skate through the process, and people just thought, like, you gotta be kidding, you're like flogging a dead horse. So I figured, why not? I'll just embrace that and make it the Titanic. Like, we're sinking ship. I actually got this photo from a movie that had a scene, I don't even remember the movie, but it had a scene of the Titanic sinking, and I took a frame grab of it and just sort of, I mean, you can tell how, like, terribly digital it is. I mean, and think about when you're doing frame grabs back then, what is that, 640 by 480? Like, just video resolution. So I was like, it's gonna look terrible. It's this Titanic sinking. It's, you know, it's all bad. So that's what it was. But the funny thing is, as you can see in the background here, there's actually another graphic underneath it. And some of these boards, not all of them, were actually Willie Santos GNS Pro model that we had to buy from GNS because Willie wanted to ride for Birdhouse, and they said, if you don't buy our back stock of skateboards, we're going to sue you. And I didn't have any money to be sued, and we barely had money to buy boards, so we bought all these Everslick boards from Willie, or from GNS, with Willie's graphics, and then screened my graphic over it. So this is actually like a screened Everslick board. But it was pretty ridiculous, the kind of hoops we had to jump through to start a skate brand in 1992. This right here is just a graphic that we did on Birdhouse later on in the years, and is a total ripoff of Steve Stedham's first graphic. This was all Jeremy Klein's idea. I'm pretty sure that he had Sean Cliver draw it, but I just think it's so funny. My signature haircut in the 80s, and you know, it's done on a Steve Stedham graphic. This is still one of my favorites, and I know I've seen people with tattoos of this. We actually have, I'm just glad that we're able to, because a lot of the stuff that we did on Powell, like I'm not allowed to use, or I'm not allowed to recreate, and this one we've managed to keep the rights to. Jeremy Klein came to me with this when it was already done, and he's like, "What do you think of that?" And I said, "That's one of the funniest things I've ever seen." And since then, it's become one of my favorite graphics, just through the years, because, like I said, it runs the gamut of influences. All right, so this is my last board. This is only special to me because it's actually a movie prop. This was made for CSI Miami, and I was a guest star on one episode where I actually got killed. And I got killed by this skateboard, and the guy hit me over the head with it as hard as he can, and it was okay because look, the whole thing is rubber. Even the wheels and the trucks, look at that. This thing is pretty sick. It looks totally legit, it looks totally real, and you can just get hit in the head with it over and over. Oh no, I broke it. See, look, that's how easy it is to fix, right there, boom, all better. This is like the first time I ever saw a proper movie prop that was totally fake, but looked like a real skateboard. So I hold on to this. Actually, I stole it from the set.
I hope you don't read skateboard.
No, they don't like that at all when you do stuff like that in movie sets. Bad. One time I took a helmet from a set because I liked the way that they painted it, and I knew that my son would like it at the time. They called me when I was on my way home, like driving home from LA, like, "Hey, do you have that helmet?" I'm like, "Oh, I don't know, it might be in my trunk. If you have it, you have to turn around and give it back to us." I'm like, "No, I don't have it." I had it.